ladies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amina Margot.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Welcome back to Vic Akers Wonderland or VAW Pod, whichever you prefer. I kind of can't decide after what Adam did to us on the last episode, so I'm not 100% sure as he's cackling away there. And since he's cackling away, how are you, Adam?
Absolutely knackered. It's been a long day, a stressful day. One of those days where everything that can go wrong did go wrong, and that was just in the morning. So I'm hoping there are going to be no technical difficulties on the pod tonight. Those of you watching on YouTube will notice in the slightly blurred background, I am in a hotel, but alas, I am not abroad on tour for the trip to Sweden. Unfortunately, it's more work stuff. But I'm looking forward to picking up our upcoming trip to Sweden.
And as always, I'm also joined by Matt. Matt, how are you?
I'm not too bad. It's been an interesting one to hear about people's journeys over to Sweden this morning and afternoon just before work, and I'm looking forward to talking about this one because it's going to be another great game, and especially under the Champions League nights.
And definitely Champions League under the lights. And if you haven't seen our thumbnail already, make sure you go and check it out because I've done a blinder with that one. Or you actually can go and check it on VAW Pod on Instagram. That is probably the best place to look rather than trying to look on our playlist, just to appreciate it. I'm actually going to wake you guys up a little bit. It's mini quiz time. I haven't thrown one of these at you in a while, and I want to see how many answers you get and who's going to come out on top again. I think, Matt, did you win last time or did Adam?
Oh, I can't remember. I think we were both.
Okay.
I think Adam won it.
Yeah, that it doesn't surprise me. Right. So first question: how many times have we gone head to head with BK Hacken?
Are we including legs as separate matches? So if we played them in a leg, like a quarter final, you're treating it as 2 games or 1 game?
2 games.
Okay.
How many times have the Arsenal won? Okay, Matt? Ready?
Yeah.
Next one?
Yeah.
I need some sort of tension music. How many goals have been scored for both sides? Let me know when you're ready, boys.
Yeah.
Okay, who has scored against BK Hacken in these meetings?
Yeah.
Do you guys need a hint? Or no? If you can get
No,
all 3 players,
Yeah, no, I know.
I will give you a bonus point.
That is a major clue because I know that tallies with all the stuff I know so far. So I think, if memory serves, I think it's that one. I think it's that one. And I reckon it might be that one. I could be wrong. We'll see.
Oh, Adam wrong? What a miracle.
Range of things have happened.
I've had to pick players from a while ago.
Yeah.
I think I've got it, but I'm not too sure if I'm honest.
Okay. If you are playing along at home, please do get your answers in the comments because we are now going to run through them. So first question is, how many times have we gone head to head with BK Hacken? I'm going to ask Matt first.
I went with 2.
Yep, that's correct. Adam, have you got the same?
Yep, 2. Yeah.
Okay. How many wins have we got out of those 2?
Who are you going for first?
I'm going to go for Adam first this time.
1.
That's correct. It's 1 apiece at the moment. How many goals have been scored, Matt, for both
5.
sides? Ooh, close, but no. Adam?
What did Matt say?
5.
Oh, that's interesting because you kind of gave it away slightly because you said 3 for Arsenal. So I know Arsenal scored 3, and I know that when we played in with 2 legs, they scored 1 at Meadow Park, and then they got a late winner at their other range. So 3 for us, 2 for them, total of 5.
Yep.
I did. You just told me no for 5.
I know, I've just messed it up. I've just seen that. I'm so sorry. The answer is 5. I do apologise. I actually had it written down because the way I had it was because they scored 2, I've knocked it down to 3. Like,
Yeah.
I've just, all right, I fixed that now. Error on my part. Right. So in 2012, who scored against BK Hacken? I'm going to go with Matt first.
Right. Okay. One of my players that won't have been playing at that game, and so I'm again a wild guess. Kim Little.
Yep. Penalty in 75 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anybody
I'm going to
else?
guess.
There's 2 more players. They're no longer with us, though.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay.
That definitely
That's
rules
good.
her
That
out.
helps. Okay. Right. I'm feeling a bit more confident about my picks then.
Go
Do
on,
you have one more stab at Matt? Anyone?
The only other one I have on there is Rachel Yankee.
Nope.
Good, because I didn't pick her. Okay. So my other 2 were Ellen White and Jordan Nobbs.
Oh, for goodness sake. That's so annoying.
Well, it's only because so confession about this one, because we obviously all played this straight, but I was listening to another podcast talking about this, and they mentioned this fixture because they weren't known as BK Hacken at the time; they were known as another name because it was part of their sponsor, like a drinks brand or something, like Gertenberg, something else. And so I looked up the result on Wikipedia and just to see what the scores were and the match reports. And yes, we won 3-1 at Meadow Park, came from behind, and then held out for a 0-0 draw, except they scored very late on, and all of a sudden we were on the brink of going out on away goals, but we held on for a 3-2 aggregate win. Sorry to have ruined your quiz, Lottie.
It's all right. It took me like an hour to sort that in between work calls, so that's why I've messed up. So I do apologise for anyone at home. It's my mistake. Hold my hands up. Right, so let's go back to Champions League football. Put the quiz in the bin, so to speak. Well done for winning again, Adam, which is really annoying. So we've got 5 qualifying teams from the league path and 7 qualifying teams from the Champions League path will join Barcelona, Lyon, Bayern Munich and Chelsea in the UEFA Women's Champions League group stages. The 4 groups will be determined by a draw on the 27th of September. So that is literally the Friday after our home leg in Meadow Park. Match day 1 will be on the 8th or the 9th of October. Match day 2, October 16th or 17th. Match day 3, November 12th or 13th. Match day 4, November 20th or 21st. Match day 5, December 11th or December 12th. Match day 6, December 17th or the 18th. The top 2 teams in each group will be progress to the quarterfinals after the group stages conclude on the 17th and 18th of December. The draw for the quarterfinals and semi-finals will take place in February. So that is what we're looking at the moment. I'm not going any further because I'm going to start dreaming. So we need to slam the brakes on there for the moment. The latest news in and around the club at the moment. We've continued our preparations for the season. We did beat West Ham 5-1 behind closed doors on Saturday, which was absolutely brilliant. And good to hear because they have signed a new captain. Well, not signed a new captain. They've now given the captain's armband to Katrina Gorey, which I find is very interesting. But we won't go on too much into that.
Well, was really weird because they got the vice captain where the captain should be and the captain where the vice captain should be on their social media account. That was really weird.
Yeah,
West Ham are a bit of a mess.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just go with that. Also, team photo is out now. I think I prefer the one where Wynn decides to walk off and Gunnosaurus stand up. I think that's my favourite one. You can see all the dog moms just laughing their heads off. But team news. Steph Catley's still out with a niggling muscle issue. Beth Mead is back in the squad and fit to start after suffering a groin strain in pre-season. Lena Hurtig is still unavailable due to a muscle injury. We all know Victoria Pelova is out with her ACL and Amanda Illistead is on maternity leave. And that is all the latest at the moment. Although the travelling squad is Manu Zinsberger, Daphne Van Domsla, Naomi Williams, Emily Fox, Lotte Wibben-Moore, Leah Codina, Leah Williamson, Katie McCabe, Laura Vreen-Reuter, Katie Reid, Kim Little, Frida Leonardson-Mornham, Leah Volti, Rosa Kafaji, Katrine Mollacall, Kyra Cooney-Cross, and Layla Harbert. Mariona Caldente, Beth Mead, Caitlin Ford, Leslie Russo, Stina Blackstanis, Vivian Leah, and Freya Godfrey. Are we happy with that, boys?
I'll go first. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good game, really. There's a lot of opportunities there for the players and take those opportunities. Jonas actually mentioned that some of these youngsters, they'll see how they do the first start of the season and potentially see them as a loan option for the rest of the season if they're not getting the minutes. So there's an opportunity now for them to get that experience and put that on their CV that they took part in the Champions League game. And I think this is going to be a game where might be experience versus youth, as we will talk about further on.
Yeah. Adam, Jonas mentioned Kate Reid, Layla Harbert, and Vivian Leah. They're going to be sticking around till January. Is this a good move from us?
I think it's a bold move, certainly. We know they've got talent from what we've seen pre-season, at least. I mean, I've seen Katie Reid in pre-season, saw at the Southampton game, seen some of the others as well. The second half, I think it was Godfrey was one of them. I think came on and looked very, very good. The only way you're going to know if these players are good enough to play for the Arsenal is by playing them. I mean, it's as simple as that. The problem is finding the right game to play for them. It would be unfair, for example, to start them in, say, the opening game against Manchester City. But if, let's say, this is a game, to the Hacken game, if, say, after 70 minutes or so, we're 2-3-0 up, chance to take the likes of, starts with Mariona or Beth Mead or whoever, and bring on the youth players, because it's the perfect platform for them to shine. I look at the men's side. The North London derby we all watched against Spurs, and Arteta put Nweri on. With only a few minutes to go for Saka, but he trusted Nweri, and I think he did a pretty good job in those minutes to help close out the game. If the season goes the way we want it to, and we get into the group stage of the Champions League, we've got Champions League group stage matches interspersed with WSL games. We can't play full strength for every single game. We need to be able to rotate, and we're going to need to rely on these young players to do it. And we all love the idea of academy products in the first team. I mean, it's the Hollywood dream. It's another Saka. It's another Leah Williamson. So I'm all for it. I think it's a bold move by Jonas, but I think it's good that he's showing faith with youngsters. I can think of other clubs who have a lot of talent, but then choose to sort of shun them and just bring in more players rather than trust the youth players. So I'm all for it. I think great, fair play. We know they've got talent. Katie Reid's the star, as we've said many times, and I think she's going to become a starter as the season progresses, certainly in that sort of group of 4 centre-backs. But I think, if injuries happen, I think there's enough young players there at the level that can step in, certainly.
The best teams as well in the league, in any league across Europe, they know how to integrate their youth players. You look at Barcelona, for example, one of the best. I'm not too sure about Lyon. I think they go around picking other players off their shelf. Yeah. But the best teams in Europe, generally, they have their players, and then they have the youth products as well that come up through the ranks. The Leah Williamsons of their teams, and that kind of helps because you have that DNA of the club already integrated. And if another coach, say comes along, they don't know very much about the club inside, these players can help bring them along and say, this is the DNA of the club, this is what you need to do, this is what your expectations are.
I couldn't agree with you more there, Matt. Absolutely spot on. I mean, I'm quite looking forward to see if they can break into the team at the moment, especially with Vivian Leah being as young as she is. I think she's the youngest out of all of them at the moment. But again, my eyes are firmly set on Katie Reid to see what she does this season. Yeah. After Matt blowing his horn all last season, saying you need to keep an eye on her. We believe you now. Okay.
One thing I do want to add on that is we're bringing these youth players in the squad. The frustration is if Jonas doesn't play any of them at all. And that's the kind of thing. If they are just in the squad and we don't get to see them at all, then I will have a frustration with that. Just because they're in the squad, I want to go see them play. Of course, they have to earn the right to play, but I hope that we actually do get to see them on the pitch as well, and get some significant minutes, because otherwise it's obviously waste. It's another Geo, isn't it?
Oh no, absolutely. The thing is, they've been registered for Champions League football, haven't they?
Yes.
So they'll be travelling with the squad most of the time. But I also kind of see these girls kind of joining us when it comes to like the cups. They're more like earlier stages of the cups, and then going from there. I don't know what you think, Matt.
The one thing you will be wondering is actually Vivian Leah during the pre-season tour was actually talking about how she's still in school. She's 17 years old, so I imagine she's not going to say she's not. If the Arsenal end up going to the group stages, she's not going to do an away game on a Wednesday night. She's got school in the morning. She's not going to have that opportunity to go out there. But
I think I'm going to be honest, I was involved with an Arsenal project. There is a way around it. I was involved with an Arsenal project with my workplace, and we've kind of set up a hub over on I'm not going to say where it is, over in let's say Camden, the London Borough of Camden, and where we set it up is a place for students go and they get that study time, and they can do all different bits and pieces they need to do. A lot of our intake at the moment is GCSE learners, for those 16 to 17-year-olds who are going to be resitting in November. So I don't know if they've got something in place for Vivian Leah. It could be possible, because they have access to my workplace and they've got access to all the tutors and everything else. So it is a possibility. So she might be going on a Wednesday night. What do you think?
I was going to say, I was thinking it's amazing that you could turn up at, because they say like at the teacher and say, Viv, where's your homework? I said, oh, sorry, sir, I was doing a Champions League away game at Barcelona. So, all right. I think it's incredible. The idea that, I'm thinking when I was 17 or A-level, I think it would have been if I was 17, 18, thinking, I was studying my A-levels, and these are kids who are going to be playing significant football matches. I mean, it's an exciting but sort of terrifying thought. I reckon the best place to use them will be when we play that lowest seeded team in the group, when like FC Zurich. When if it's the last fixture in the chain, we've already qualified, put the kids up for that one and give them that one and enjoy themselves. And I hope they do. I hope they get some European moments, because that's the best platform to perform on, along with the WSL, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got 180 minutes before we kind of get there yet. So just everyone buckle up and plug your seatbelts in, because we're going to go for it. So I do want to talk about BK Hacken a little bit. BK Hacken are currently in the second half of their season. Their season starts in April until I think it was July. They have a breakthrough through August, and they recently come back for the second half of their season. And they will finish up on the 9th of November. The standings in the Damallsvenskan, I probably said that wrong. Swedish fans, don't hate me. As of this evening, BK Hacken are second in their league, and trailing 11 points behind the title race runners Rosengard. In their last 5, they've won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. Their only loss came from a 1-0 loss to Rosengard.
Rosengard, okay, yeah. I always get the two confused. Do
you know what? Do you know how many times I wrote Rosenborg down and it's a completely different league?
Yes, I know. it's a nightmare.
I had to read it. Read my notes several times. I was like, yeah, I've got the right team.
It's a Rosengard. I've said it from the off. It's the hard. It's not going to be easy. It's a medium draw, but it's probably like the Ajax game we had last time.
Yeah,
and that was close. It was
for a reason.
Proper tension.
Yeah, these teams are here for a reason, and they finished second last season. They're currently second still in their league. I mean, I think the last time they won their league was with, I think when Stina was there in 2020. I think I could be wrong.
This is a team that obviously got to the quarterfinals last season as well. So they got a
bit
of
you
European
just ripped my next point straight off me.
So don't
I'm
underestimate
assuming you both watched. I'm assuming most people watched their quarterfinal leg of PSG, and with PSG last season in quarterfinals. Unfortunately, BK Hacken did lose both legs, but Rosa Kafaji scored. in the first leg at the Bravida Stadium just before half time that day. And then they went on to lose 2-1, I believe. So did either of you manage to watch that game?
I didn't know, but
vaguely remember.
You can always go back and watch it. This is the great thing that I love about DAZN, is that you've got that watchability back, especially when it comes to YouTube. So you can even they put up highlights of Rosa Kafaji last season as well, like the best bits, and even there you can see that she is such a well-rounded player. But again, I'll go back to my point last time out, was that you need to see her to actually be like, wow, this is a real talent. You can't just be stuck behind a TV screen or a laptop or a tablet, whatever. You need to watch her play properly to actually be like, wow, this is 100% a great talent. You can't just sit there and be like that. But I'm sure it'll be the same this time around, where it's very much, as I mentioned, youngsters versus experienced heads, and it'll be interesting to see how it develops throughout this game. I think I've worked out the average age is roughly around that 24 mark. They've got 8 players over the age of 25. That's
Yeah, there's also 2 players there that have kind of played for a season with Everton and Villa, if I remember rightly. But I do, before we go on to past players, because there is an Arsenal Academy graduate coming up in this fixture. We will come back to her in a minute. I do want to get your thoughts on Jonas's comments about BK Hacken and see if we can work out what he plans to do. BK Hacken is a brave team who stick to their identity. They like to build and play out from the back, especially at home. I think they've shown in Champions League they're good enough to play their brand of football against the top teams in Europe. Their defending shape, they like to press and play with intensity, and they like to challenge the opponent that way. I expect nothing less from tomorrow night. They play a positive brand of football and they express themselves on the ball. They invest in a lot of players in the build-up phase with short and central combinations. They're skillful and they are very enjoyable to watch when they play their best level of football. Out of possession, they like to go out and press with intensity and challenge the other team with how good they are at keeping possession. There are a lot of ingredients for a good game between two teams that like to be in possession of the ball. Do we think Jonas is a Hacken fan on the quiet? That is very good analysis, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think he probably knows the team probably very well. Obviously, it's his league, if you will. It's his from his nation. So there is a bit of homecoming there, I suppose. Yeah, I think he probably knows Hacken very well. He's obviously probably has an ear to how they play. You know, we've got 2 ex-players of our own, obviously from Hacken, who know how the style of play they go. So but we know Jonas. He does his homework. You know, he doesn't just rock up with a team and hope for the best. We've heard the way he spoke about Rosenborg, how he spoke great lengths of how they played, and how they set up, and how they had different strategies for different moments. You know, speaking about how they played against Atletico Madrid. So. No, I'm not surprised he has that high detailed view on the way they play. Of course, having that knowledge is one thing, but being able to utilise it to your own advantage is another, and that's what's going to be the challenge on the day. And I think it will be a challenge. I can't see it being like the low blocks and harsh defences we saw last time against Rosenborg. I think it's a team that's got a genuine goal for it, and we're going to have to be ready for it.
It feels very much, as I've said, it's almost like a end-to-end sort of game. I think it's going to be, as you both mentioned, it looks like it's going to be one of those games where it's different kettle of fish compared to what we saw against both Rangers and Rosenborg. But I think, again, it's going to be one of those games that is going to set us up really well for the opener at the weekend. And hopefully everything goes well. I know some people complaining about they're playing on in quotes a plastic pitch. It's just got grass. It's just grass and a little bit of rubber crumbs. It's not really endangering or anything like that. It's just a different type of pitch that they'll be playing if they were playing indoors, for example, doing a training session inside there. There's nothing different about it. I think everything And this game's going to be more tactical than about weather conditions, if I'm being honest. I know it sounds a bit silly, but they all play a part.
I think some of the horror of the plastic pitches, obviously we went out on a plastic pitch last season, and I think that trauma is just tickling in the background. We think of Linköping and the penalty shootout against Paris FC. It was on a plastic pitch. So I think that just resonates slightly, and Lottie shaking her head. But it's true. That's
Stop it.
I know, but that's the type of stage we were in, and we went out. And so I can understand why people are a bit sort of shaken by that.
It's reality, but
Yes,
nobody.
yeah.
I just don't like the reality shock sometimes.
I know. I want to live in delusion. It's much more.
I just know.
Fantasy.
Do you know what it is?
Fun.
Do you know what it is? I've had a look at like their men's side for the last couple of years, and they've been finishing second half of the table. So the women's team have been doing a lot better than the men's, which is actually interesting to watch for a change, because normally it's the other way around, unless you're Tottenham Hotspur. But yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, petty shots aside, yes.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
think this is a quarter. I would say this is a quarter-final caliber match.
Yeah.
I would say in terms of the opposition. I think that's why it's against where the whole thing turns out is that this could easily be a Champions League quarter-final. In fact, obviously, as I said earlier, Hacken were quarter-finalists last season. So it's a real step up, and take into consideration we've got Manchester City plonked right in the middle of the two of them. So it's a really intensive week coming up. We've got 3 major matches where we have to get positive results from.
No, absolutely. I mean, Matt, is this the perfect warm-up for City?
Yes, 100%. And the reason why is that you're going to get, I mentioned it earlier, you don't know how City are going to play. They could essentially playing with six attackers.
They lost to Aston Villa the other day.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't surprise me yet, because they're still finding themselves. They brought in a couple of players, Viv being the main star buy, if you want to call it that. I think they're still finding their feet, but I think we've got the edge because we've had that extra games. We've had the tour, they've gone over to Australia, but we've also had the Champions League games. So we've had more of an incentive to keep going at a steady pace. City have sort of gone into, I don't want to, just sort of plod along, if they will, and then the intensity will go as soon as that first Champions League game against Paris kicks off. That's when the intensity will grow, and I'll be interested to see what happens there as well. But I think I'm pretty sure City play on the same night, don't they?
Yeah, they're both on tomorrow night. I mean, we're talking about Arsenal, but it's going to be interesting. I'm going to probably try and follow both games. I'm assuming they both kick off at the same time, at similar times, but I'm going to try and follow the Paris FC Manchester City one, because I'll be interested to see how Manchester City are going to be set up, especially with Vivian Miedema on their side now. And obviously, I think we're all going to be Paris FC fans for it.
I can speak for this pod, but I can't speak for everybody else. Let's just leave it at that, because that you're just asking to have shots fired at you at this point.
At any other moment.
Exactly. And you take it in your stride, but yeah. So back to our Arsenal Academy graduate. Ruby Grant is now playing at BK Hacken. Her senior debut was in our league winning season in 2018-19. She came on for Jordan Nobbs for the last 8 minutes against Everton in a 4-0 win. She also had a hat-trick.
Oh no. I know what that is then. That's the game where Jordan Nobbs did her ACL. That's the game. So she came on for Jordan. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yes.
Ouch. Yeah.
Ruby also got a hat-trick in her FA Cup debut against the Crawley Wasps in the 4th round. I wasn't watching women's football back then. I will hold my hands up to that. But you two definitely was. Like, what are your memories of Ruby Grant?
None, because I don't recall her playing at all. Unfortunately, this is the tragedy of.
I think I need to go to our academy analysis then.
It's one of those that I remember the name, but unfortunately, she was just sort of tailing off towards the end of when I was starting to watch it. So, if memory serves me right, I think she went over to the US to do a scholarship. So
Yes.
she's
she
not been
ended
picked up.
playing for a particular team that 3 of our players have played for. Who is that team? If anyone at home is listening and they're not shouting that team name,
Tower Hills.
shame on you.
Well, I don't want to say it because I've got her Wikipedia page up at the moment and I can see it. So.
You cheat. You
That's
cheat.
what I'm gonna say. She actually went to West Ham. Actually, so
Yeah,
so
she did go to West Ham, but she did end up at
Tar
Hills as well.
Mm.
So I thought that would be just a fun little fact. Eventually got there, but she did stop at West Ham on the way and somewhere else, I believe.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a player I properly got the chance to play because the watch play, so to say. 2018-19 season, the only real games I saw were at the tail end of the season when Arsenal were closing another title. It was a season after I started to get into watching it. By the time I was fully in gear, if you will, she'd gone. I'd missed it. But as Matt said, based on what I've seen, or not seen, shall I say, it sounded like she was very much a sort of squad player on the fringes, coming on for the last few minutes. I don't blame her going over to the States to try and get minutes and improve her craft. Lottie and Anna Patton did the same, and they came back and been stronger for it. But it's interesting to see that it's always nice when you get a reunion of an Arsenal player. So it'd be nice to see Ruby Grant again, obviously on the other side of the pitch. I'd wish her well, except I'm hoping we beat her. So it's slight conflict there, but I'm sure there'll be it'll come up in the interviews, or there'll be some content around it as well. Because it is nice when you get to reunite with these graduates.
Yeah, no, absolutely couldn't agree more. But speaking of returning players, BK Hacken have got to have a look. I've got to see after 2.5 years now, Stina Blackstenius is going back. And and after only 2 little months, Rosa Kafaji is going back. I do want to speak about Rosa a bit more. As much as I love Stina, it's been 2.5 years. I think they've moved on by now. But Rosa was their superstar over there. She was their top scorer last season with 15 goals across all competitions, I believe. Last season, Adam, I am going to throw some stats at you. I just want to get your thoughts on this. So last season, her accurate pass per game was 72.9%, 0.14 assists, and 58.5 accurate passes towards the final third. These numbers aren't extraordinary, but they can be improved.
Yeah.
If she works harder and more consistently in delivering her excellent performances and her playmaking. We've already seen we've had a glimpse of what she could do over in our USA tour.
Mm-hmm.
Can Jonas take her to the next level? Is he the right manager for her?
I mean, that's the goal, isn't it? That's the challenge. History will tell. The future will tell. I think it's interesting with those passing statistics. What was the passing accuracy one again? You said it was the
72.9 accurate passes per game. Or did you want the passes towards the final third? Because that's a different number.
Oh, well, that one as well. What was the pass?
58.5.
So that's obviously passes made in the final third. Now you can look at that 2 ways. You can look at that as somebody who is a bit hit and miss finding a player in the final third, or you can look at the other way, which is she's always looking to make a progressive pass. Sometimes that won't come off and the opposition will accept, or sometimes, like we saw against Washington Spirit, it gets through the defence and the striker runs through and scores. A player that has a high percentage of possession retention looks great on the spreadsheets, but it's important to know where those passes are being made. And if they're just circulating the ball on the halfway line, it's not doing anything. So Rosa is less of a steady Eddie possession. It's I'm going to make the tricky pass, the gambling pass. And I think again we bring it back to early times. The West Ham United game away, too many of our midfielders playing the safe pass, not breaking the lines, not getting the goals. And Rosa can make those passes. If she can increase the percentage and become even better at those passes, even better. Matt was saying about seeing Rosa in person. I saw her on the TV streams for the preseason friendlies in the US, and she looked good. I saw her play in Southampton, and I thought she looked very good. But I think, I mean, how old is Rose at the moment? She's not a
She's
experienced
21.
player, is it? 20. She's 21, so she's got plenty of time to develop. I think she's a very much a raw talent, and those are some of the best ones you can mould. Jonas can shape her into the number 10 playmaker that I think she's going to be. The thing is, it's because she's such an exciting player, everything she does with the ball is almost to entertain. It's the run forward, the drive forward, passing forward. It's what you want from a midfielder. We all want to see her in the starting 11. We want to see her start and play every game. I know you want to see her play Lottie because you didn't get the chance to.
I'm patiently waiting. There's time. I've got my tickets in the North Bank for next Thursday. I'm patiently waiting. We've got the game on Sunday, which if Rosa does play, she'll be an absolute wild card, which is quite exciting for me. So we'll see. I'm not going to jump on the Kyra Cooney cross boat like I did last season. I want her to start every game, and I didn't get to see her, so I'm no longer doing that because I just got annoyed week in, week out. But I was still happy with the team sheet. So I'm not jumping. I'm trying not to get on that boat, but I probably will at this point.
I think, again, like us, we'll have to be patient with Rosa. I'm sure every team's going to be people saying, why is Rosa not starting? Why is Rosa not starting? The thing is, we've got Frida who can play that role pretty good, and she was pretty good during the qualifiers, and obviously Rosa can drop into that position as well. So it's not an open door for Rosa to just walk in and take that spot, but she's got the potential to do that, and she's got the high quality games coming up if we can get through this playoff to do that. And I think this might be a good game for her as well because it's familiar territory. It's coming home, and you know, as an Arsenal fan, I would not know what it is like to see a star player leave in the summer window and then come straight back home for the first game of the season. I mean, we wouldn't know what that's going to be like, would we?
Oh no, but we will in a few days.
We will in a few days. But so, and it's the same with Rosa. I think this will be a good game for her because it's a stadium she knows all too well. I'll be very surprised if she doesn't at least come off the bench. And I think, I mean, the fans are always taken to her. There is a chance suggested already in the wings. So hopefully we might get a rendition of that on the night. And yes, this is going to be a challenge for Jonas. He's been well documented last season. We weren't creative enough. He's got a very creative player, and he make her the creative player who needs the team. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, since you've brought up that wonderful returning player, I do want to have a kind of little bit of a debate. On one hand, Rosa Kafaji is in familiar territory. So is Stina Blackstenius. But on the other hand, they know her very well. They know. I don't know how much teams changed since Stina left, but they know her as well.
That's a good point.
Will Jonas
know
choose?
How to deal with her.
Go on. Sorry?
They will know how to deal with her, as you were saying. The defence would know.
Yeah. Will Jonas still... Well, will Jonas prefer to play Frida Leonardson-Mornham in that 10 role over Rosa Kafaji because of that reason? Or will he start her alongside with Russo and Stina Blackstenius and then her as the 10, Matt?
I think he's going to have one eye on Sunday. So if I'm going to be honest, I think this is going to be a Stina starts for definite. Rosa is a 50-50. She started on the bench, but she's usually come off as a finisher so far. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts her with the intention that Rosa will then become a finisher for the game against City. Adam has basically swallowed Tim Stillman's article because when she came in, exactly what he was saying is that about the key passes. I
haven't read it, so I haven't read it. So
she was brought in
great minds, really.
Make those opportunities to get those key passes going forward. Play a bit more riskier football, and I think when you're playing against a young team, again, it's youth versus experience, and if you've got the experience behind you in defence and midfield, you can allow Rosa to play those risky balls, and whether or not it's going to be Mariona on the wing, or it's Caitlin Ford, or it's Beth Mead, whether or not that's going to be a risk itself, we'll wait and see.
Thing is, you speak about this risk, and we've actually seen her do it. If you were watching the group stages last season, I think it was one of the legs against Real Madrid on match day 2, which I think was in the November, the first leg. They were at the Bravidia Stadium, and the excellent vision, the ability to time a pass to get the second goal, because they were 1-1 at this point, and Rosa had already scored, which was absolutely fantastic. But she made the decision to pass over to the right back, which is Katerina Kosola, and she managed to get the ball into the middle of the box, and then they went on to score. Is this what we've been missing? Is this evidence we should be starting her over Frida? Bearing in mind, Frida has scored already for us.
I wouldn't start Frida.
Go on, Adam.
That's what. Oh, I would start Frida, not for the whole Rosa Kafaji thing, simply because I think at this moment it's an element of play. Stick with what you know, and this has worked the last 2 games. Frida's very experienced at playing Champions League football, so I think he will go to her first. I think Rosa Kafaji, again, we wanted to play, but I think we overestimate maybe how much of a gamble, or underestimate. It would be quite a gamble to do that because of, well, I know she's experienced with Hacken, but she's not very experienced in our team. So she's not a settled component within our team. She's still got to, get up to speed, and gambling that on a must-win Champions League qualifier. I think she'll come off the bench. I think she'll come off the bench with maybe 20 to 30 minutes and play then. And if she plays really well and she does a lot of good stuff, because we're on about those attacking passes, they need to find their target. If we've got somebody who's making attacking passes and it's just getting turned over back to your position, it's a gamble that's working against us.
No,
so
definitely.
I think he was.
Difference Adam, is that what would you rather risk? Would you rather risk 3 points, or would you rather risk a 2 legs off affair in order to see what happens?
I think it's going to be for me, my predictions, and we'll make the predictions later, but I'll just say it now, I think it's going to be a draw. I think he stay in touch, take him to Meadow Park, or when you're on really familiar ground and you've got the backing of 3,000 to 4,000 fans in the ground. That's where I think it's going to go. I don't think it's going to be a game where it's going to be brilliant, free-flowing attacking. I think it might be a bit of a batten down the hatches job. So I think he will play it safe. He'll knows Frida can play very well in that position if she's on form, and early signs are she's maybe leaning towards that now. And I think he will say Rosa. I think Rosa is somebody who will introduce throughout the season. I think by the time we get to the end of the season, she'll be starting games. I think that you'll have almost like a baton pass throughout the season. I don't think this is the point of the season where she's going to be starting games, but after Christmas, I think we'll see her start more games, certainly.
No, definitely. I mean, Adam, the first time you saw her play, you didn't know who she was.
No, I didn't.
It was at the Euro qualifier against Sweden back in April.
To be fair, not many people would have probably remembered her from that.
No, I know that. I was only teasing. Come on, let me have my fun.
I was there for that one, and it was. It's a good occasion. Wembley, watching the Lionesses play brings back a lot of happy memories.
Just a little refresher, and she came on the 62nd minute to replace Aslani. Within 2 minutes, she picked out across to escape Kira Walsh. The image looks like Kira Walsh when I pause it. I think it's her. Over Lucy Bronze's head, and Fridolina Rolfo is just completely unmarked. And it is a cracking goal. Mm. I will say that. But for her to pick it up with the likes Kira Walsh, Leah Williamson, and there's someone else that's coming into it. I think it might be Georgia Stanway in the freeze frame that I was looking at, because the numbers are so blurred on the back of shirts. I couldn't tell even from the hair colours like I usually do.
Or the boobs.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't tell. But to escape the quality of those players and get over to Fridolina Rolfo is just, I don't know how to put that into words, Adam.
But that's the maverick sort of X factor quality you need in those moments, and that's why I think she's a great sub option. is if we get to the game and the game is established in a position, and that position in the Sweden-England game, England will 1-0 up with Russo, bring Aslani off and bring Kafaji on. It was a game changer. She changed the game. Her moment of brilliance, flipped the game, changed it from a 1-0 to England to a 1-1 draw, and suddenly, I mean, we all have said it many times, the game Sweden probably should have won. England really lost their way after that substitution, and that's sometimes that's what you need, just a change in tone, a change in changing, what's the best way to use a musical term, like a key change. So just taking it from one game A to game B, and England couldn't cope with that. They couldn't cope with that change that Kafaji brought. And that's why I think she's going to be a really good sub option. I think we've got Frida will possess the quality we would need to potentially win. But if it's game's not going our way, it's a really good asset to bring off the bench and just go out there and do your magic and change the game. And I think she's that kind of player that can do that.
You've just reminded me, Adam, we do have internationals in a couple of weeks, and they will have that playoff for the Euros. So should that will be a really interesting one to keep an eye on, because that could be your key help on where she's going to be come the next couple of weeks in the season.
Absolutely. Thing is, she's never been consistently picked for Sweden because I have no idea why, but I'm assuming because of minutes. But you look back at Hacken, that she was the star there last season, so it's kind of baffling for me. I'm not too sure. I'd have to go back and check team sheets and picks and things.
That's the one thing that I should say with her being the star.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that gives me hope against BK Hacken, is because she's our star now. And I'm hoping, no offense to BK Hacken fans, that we've basically pulled the plug out of their bath. That's what I'm hoping. That if she was
basically, you're telling me you want to upset their season.
Well, unfortunately, we have. If we've signed her, if that is the caliber player compared to the rest, if she's this is the talisman, that's the player that she was basically for them. But now she's in our camp. I'm hoping. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just before we wrap up, I'm gonna do the team sheets. We're gonna do this slightly differently. I'm gonna give you each an area to fill instead of giving me a whole team. So I'm going to start with the goalkeepers. I'm going to go with Manu Zinsberger in goal. And I'm going to give the defence over to Matt.
I think this what the left back picks themselves, and that's K. At this moment in time, we don't have another left back. Oddly enough, when we did transfer, I did pick out left back. I wasn't expecting Steph Catley to be very prone this time around this season, but anyway, they're getting off track. Centre back, I'm going to say Leia and Leah, and then at right back, I am going for between Laura or Emily. I'm going to go with Emily, but I wouldn't be surprised if Laura does get a shout out.
I'm going to take the middle. I'm going to go with Clara Cooney-Cross and Captain Kim Little. They're just a staple piece at the moment. We know Leah Volti's not fully fit. So I think, and we've got no Vic Palova, so the next naturally who comes into line for me is Clara Cooney-Cross. And I'm going to leave the forwards to Adam. I'm going to let him have the pick, as well as the 10. As well as the 10.
So I've got
the
four. So obviously Mariona left, obviously. And the question on the right is Ford or Mead. That's the which way round that he will go on that.
This is why I left this to you.
I know you did. I could see you setting it up. So yes, I'm going to take the goalkeeper because there's only one position there, and I'm going to take the double pivot because there's only two players that are only going to play there. I think he will stick with Ford. I think he will stick. I reckon. Actually, I think he's going to basically stick with the same team that played in the qualifiers and just keep that unity going. And I think Mead will be a sub option, bringing her back from injury. May well start against Manchester City at the weekend. I think it'd be Ford on the right. I think it'd be Mariona on the left, Frida as a 10, and Russo as a striker. I think he's going to stick with that team. And it's got us this far. Just need to get over this line. If you can point to predictions a bit, but I just think this is, as long as we're in touch going into Meadow Park, I'll be happy.
No, that sounds perfect. And there's our starting 11 for you. Did throw Adam under the bus slightly, but I can't actually help myself because I don't like making
I deserve
decisions. Yeah, no comment. Unfortunately, that is all from us tonight. Wishing you a very happy match day wherever you are in the world, or whenever you're listening to this. Actually, you can find the pod at VAW Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Matt, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at MattLR28 on Twitter.
Adam, where can everyone find you on your multiple accounts?
Oh, yes, I've got many platforms, haven't I? Yes, you can
Oh,
find
Adam,
me
we
at
can't
Twitter.
hear you.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. So you can find me at Adam Salter4. You can find me on Twitter at SassX. You can find me at Adam_Salter4 on Threads. And you can find me, so that's you can find me on the social media platforms.
I'm really sorry. I actually can't hear anybody. My speakers have gone. So you can follow me at Lottie_AWFC. And come on, you Gunners.